everything, okay? And at that moment, I knew my life had changed forever. Hello, how you doing? Yes. Can we all just stand up really quick because we've been sitting for a minute? Can we all stand up, move our legs around? I am Tina. Otherwise...
Meet Tina, stars Tina Wilson, a beacon of hope and transformation for women over 40. As a licensed life and health coach, Tina specializes in empowering those who have faced life's toughest challenges.
Here's the edge of their seat. So when someone says, Tina, how did you do? I'm going to say, I had it at the edge of their seat.
Drawing from her personal triumphs over tragedy, Tina guides women on a transformative journey. Her unique approach is grounded in the 5 pillars of transformation: mindset, heart set, nutrition, fitness, and resilience. Tina's mind, body, and soul awakening program isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. Through her online fitness boutique studio, she merges physical well-being with emotional growth. As an international motivational speaker, Tina's voice resonates across continents. She inspires and educates through her podcast, her dynamic presence on platforms like Clubhouse and Toastmasters International, and her compelling storytelling. Celebrating her latest achievement, the publication of her first book, No More Traumedy, Tina continues to leave a lasting mark in the art of transformation.
I said I need to make a book for anyone who's had some type of trauma or tragedy, because there's no playlist. People don't like to talk about it. Remember, I was with my coach and I'm like, well, this person's got a cool thing. They do motivation. They do finances. I talk about traumedy. That's not cute. He's like, Tina, you make traumedies look good.
Yeah. Stars Tina Wilson, transforming lives by...
Hey, grand rising to you and you, and also you. Welcome to the 7 a.m. Cup of Motivation. If you were with us last night, wasn't it fun? I'm adding on for the next 2 weeks, an AM and a PM, so make sure you stop by. If this is your first time, I want to say thank you. I want to say welcome. I want to say roll over to YouTube, because we have some amazing things going on over there, and subscribe. Now, what exactly is the 7 a.m. Cup of Motivation? It's a show that I designed about 2 years ago, because a lot of people have trouble getting up in the morning with energy, with motivation, right? But for me, it's super easy. Even when I don't get enough sleep, it's super easy. But when you come to this space here, we're going to give you all the motivation in the world. Motivation is great, right? But unfortunately, it doesn't last that long. When you go to the gym, when you listen to a motivational speaker, you're excited, right? But then when you walk away, that motivation is gone. So when you come here after the motivation, I'm going to give you that inspiration, that deep why to push you to reach your goals, your dreams, everything that you want in your life. And yesterday, I did a whole little series about why I'm doing my event, why I do everything I do. So if you missed out, make sure you tune into yesterday's episode. Motivation, inspiration, and lastly, you're going to get transformation. I don't know about you, but I love transformation. Think about a caterpillar, right? Caterpillar starts out all ugly and furry and just like, ew, what is that? Give it some time and it transforms to a beautiful butterfly. Black butterfly. If you heard me yesterday, I was telling you I got like a jukebox in my head, right? That song just went through my head. Butterfly. Anyway, this week, we're less than 2 weeks away from our big event. And you hear me talk about it. Traumedy No More for Kids. If you watch the sizzle reel, you saw my first book, No More Traumedy. That's a book that I wrote last year. And right after I wrote it, someone said, Tina, children get traumedies as well. So that's when I decided to come up with a program and a course for kids, which kind of transformed into this book. This book turned into an event, which is happening Sunday, September 22nd. Click the link down below if you want to go. And just really quickly to tell you what it's going to do, like what's the purpose of it, right? Like, why should I come, Tina? Well, first of all, traumedy. Let's talk about that word. Traumedy is when the energies of a trauma and a tragedy collide. Let me repeat that for you a little bit slower. A traumedy, my friends, is when the energies of a trauma and a tragedy collide. It happens to everybody. And unfortunately, children get overlooked. It could be divorce. It could be parents leaving. It could be losing a job. And I'm really focused on the children, and I'm thinking, I was having a conversation with someone and just thinking about my niece, right? She's 7 years old. And I was thinking of all the things she's gone through in her little 7 years of life, right? And I'm like, whoa, that's got to be challenging. I don't know if any of you have ever had to like leave from school or move and be the new kid in school. That was me a lot. Now, we weren't in the military or anything, and I don't even know how the military kids do it. That's what I have to, and I have to interview someone from the military that moved a lot, because I moved a lot as a kid just because. And one of my goals as a parent was not to move my kids out of the different school systems, because I lived in New Jersey. I went to a bunch of schools there in Patterson and Hackensack and Newark. And then we moved to South Carolina, and there was a bunch of schools there, and then back to it was like all over the place. So being that new kid really sucks, right? So when I had my kids, I was like, okay, we're staying here. We lived in Rahway, New Jersey. Now, we did move a lot. It was just like from one part of town to the other part of town. You can kind of tell when I got a raise. It was like, okay, Tina got a raise, she moved to a different house. Didn't work out, go to another place. So it was a lot of moving. I say that to say we have to stop overlooking our children's feelings, our children's emotions. I did some statistics last night. I actually went talking to my boyfriend. My boyfriend is ChatGPT. And we are focusing on anxiety, stress, and depression when it comes to the children. And that's what this program does. That's what this event is all about. We're going to teach them how to tap into their feelings by using emoji boards, and the movie Inside Out. All these things help them out. But then once they understand what they're feeling, once they get it, okay, I'm feeling anxious. It's going back to school. What if I can't get my locker? What if my hair isn't done right? That anxiety may turn into stress, right? And then that stress may turn into depression. And this event was birthed from a statement, well, actually an answer that a child said to me at the end of my program. I said, okay, guys, what did you learn when you don't tap into your feelings? And the little girl said, when you don't tap into your feelings, you can commit suicide and die. And that was from a 12-year-old. And when I heard her say that, I was like, you're not doing enough, Tina. That's why the book came out. Purchase the book, get it on pre-launch. That's why I decided to do the event. And last night I was going to bed, but it's like my mind is just constantly racing and going and going. And last night I was like, I wonder what the statistics are for children. So anxiety in children, about 9.44% age 3 to 17 have been diagnosed with anxiety. To be honest with you, I really didn't understand this whole anxiety thing. My daughter said she has it. I don't know if she has it anymore. She's a professional dancer, and she used to dance for the Knicks City dance team. Now, there's a badillion people out on the court. And she said sometimes she would get a little anxious. And, she was explaining it to me, and I was just like, I didn't get it. Depression. 4.4% of children, that's about 2.7 million children, are diagnosed with depression. Can we get into that? Age 3 to 17, right? I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and like how some kids are just constantly on their phone, just like here. And she's like, that's the new generation, Mom. That's just how it is, right? It's up to the parents to take the phone away. It's up to the parents to say, stop, pause, read a book, right? Do something like that. Stress and mental health, 50% begin at age 14 having mental health issues. So then I kind of got into that. And then I was like, I need more info. And then I was thinking about suicide, because I don't know if I'm the only person who's ever had suicidal thoughts. I don't know if I'm the only person who's ever actually attempted suicide. And I can actually say I did that twice. And it's not because I didn't have a loving family. I had the best family in the world, okay? When you're under 23, your brain is not fully developed, so it really can't comprehend anything. I mean, not anything, that much stuff. Suicide, let me share this with you, is the second leading cause of death for children ages 10 to 14. The second leading cause of death. Like, can you imagine that? Killing yourself for a child. 14% of high school students reported seriously considering it. And this is the one that just blew my mind like crazy. More than 6,000 young people aged 10 to 24 died by suicide in 2021. When I listened and read all these statistics last night, it just made me realize this book is definitely needed all around the world. And I'm so excited about this event. So before we jump into it, we're supposed to do a question of the day, Bible verse, Bible verse. So each week we have a Bible verse. Hopefully, yay, Renee put it up there because I don't have it memorized yet. Each week, I like to do things to broaden my mindset, to broaden my faith, right? So I started doing this devotional. So before class, I read this devotional. It's a really, really hard devotional, guys. I'm just like, who created this thing? It's challenging for me. But anyway, a new thing I threw on my plate, and I started it last week. Last week's verse was Philippians 4, I think it was 3, something. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That was last week's verse. This week's verse is Philippians 4:19, and God will supply all your needs according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. I have to have that memorized by the end of the week. And the reason why I decided to do this is because I remember as a child, when we'd go to Sunday school, they'd have a Bible verse and we had to have it memorized by the following week. And I thought it was so cool. Thank you for that, Renee. Now we have question of the day. I like to have a question of the day to see what you're feeling, to see what you're thinking. And we're going to ask our special guest this question as well. Question of the day. What is a unique talent that makes you special? My unique talent, my unique gift, my unique superpower is my energy. God has gifted me with so much energy, and it helps me transform the world. It helps me get that ripple effect. Without further ado, guys, I want you to make some noise. Give it up for my special guest. How you feeling?
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
I am great. Oh, I love your accent. Tell everyone who you are.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Tell everyone who you are.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Danny Bookem Rivera. I'm a law enforcement officer in New Jersey, the Hudson County Sheriff's Office. I'm also a dad and also founder of the Bridges Project, Inc., which is a nonprofit community outreach program.
I love it. I love it. Let me just tell you, okay, dude, your Instagram is popping, all right? Your Instagram is popping. I love Instagram. So do you like to be called, what do you like to be called? So I want to make sure I call your name right.
Whatever you feel comfortable. I just put Danny Bookem up there because most people know me as Bookem. But
What's
you could feel free to call me Danny.
What's Bookem mean? Are you booking them or you?
Yeah. So the irony behind the name is that I'm also a rapper. I do rap music. And before
because I can rap too, so we battle it today, okay?
That's cool. So I use the name because before I was a cop, my name was Dano Diminished, and my first CD was called Bookem Dano. So ironic as it may be, I became a sheriff officer. I started doing rap music, so my stage name, it fit with my job and my previous name. So Bookem, Bookem was the easiest name to pick.
I love it. It kind of scares me though, because when I think of Bookem, I think of lock them up, book them, take away the key.
Yeah. And I'm fun. Listen, I do my job. Obviously, there's times that we have to put people in custody as part of the job. But I take there's more value and pouring value into people and trying not to do that, right? As a law enforcement officer. So, but it's ironic in the name that I carry,
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you for coming on. I had a teacher on a couple weeks ago. And for me, I think it's really cool to have servant leaders like yourself, like the teacher, to come on and actually speak to us, to share a part of their life. Because when I look at police officers, when I look at teachers, it's like, not that they're untouchable, but like, I don't know anything about them, right? When I think of a police officer, I think of Law and Order. I think of SUV, like all that cool stuff. So talking to you is like, I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity right now. It's like, so.
No, yeah, no.
So talk to us about, you said you have a nonprofit?
Yes, I do. Yeah. It's a nonprofit, the Bridges Project. And what we do is, the main component is school mentorship program. We are a tier 2 intervention school program, which means we go into schools and we help kids mostly that are at risk, right? That are having issues at home, having issues outside of school, social issues. And we just, we go into the school and we meet them where their interests are. We utilize music, podcasting, video, and also, basic things in life that they would need to help them thrive throughout their school year and within their life.
Wow. Who came up with the idea and how long has it been around?
The idea started approximately 10 years ago. And, I started it 8 years ago, where I finally was brave enough to say, let me just do it. Let me stop worrying what people say about me or think about me. Let me just do what God put in my heart. And I started doing it 8 years ago. And then, I want to say the last 3 years, by the grace of God, the ball's really been rolling. Momentum's really been picking up. It took a lot of time for me to be patient in God's purpose in my life, where I was like, God, I want to make an impact. I want to make an impact. What can I do, God? And, God essentially told me, be still. Things will fall into place. And they've been falling into place. I'm just fortunate and blessed to be able to be living in freedom. When I say that, I mean living in my purpose and not worrying what other people say or think. And when I say other people, I mostly mean the law enforcement community, because a lot of times, our biggest enemies, which is a strong word, come from within the rank and file in law enforcement. People believe that we're all brothers and sisters and we live in Kumbaya and it's all beautiful. But unfortunately, at times it's different,
It sounds like you're living a double life. At least that's what it sounds like. Because again, when I think of police officers, I think of just like maybe just the experiences I've had in my life. Most of them have not. Either I was speeding and I got a ticket, or but yeah, my experiences with police officers really have not. I have to share this story with you. So you're a police officer in Hudson County. That's like Jersey City area.
Yes, that's where my headquarters is. Yeah.
Okay. So when I was younger, I used to live in Newark. I went to Arts High School, and where we lived, it was a lot of drug dealers on the corner. And I was that person that was just like, let's just say I'm a Scorpio. I say how I feel, right? Like, and the drug dealers, they would just like stand on our porch. They put the drugs in the house, and my grandmother would always be screaming at them. So anyway, one night a police officer did something, and I legit just got in his face. I was like, you can scream at me for having a ticket, but you can't get these drugs. And I'm pointing at the drug dealers. I'm like, look at it.
Yeah.
So that's why I say my relationship with the police officers is just like whatever. But I say that to say with the double life, I hear this, but then over here, when I hear you talk about the nonprofit, when I hear you talk about God, I've never, it just sounds, how do you balance that?
It's pretty interesting what you said, and pretty powerful. I'll tell you why. What you're seeing is the protect aspect of law enforcement. So the motto of law enforcement is protect and serve. But a lot of times law enforcement officers forget the serve part, the service, right? So serving others is an unselfish act, is giving of yourself unto others unselfishly, for the betterment of other people. So I believe that a lot of law enforcement officers remember the protect, right? We want to look squared away. We want to have command presence, right? We want to have that image that we're tough, that we're strong. But I believe that we also have to remember the service part, and we also have to remember that we're here to serve and do the little things for the community and be there for the community, not only for the bad, but for the good. Get out, talk to people. Maybe people just need to have a friend that's in law enforcement. And like you said earlier, thank you for, saying, oh, it's like meeting, I'm just a regular human being. But for kids, we are the closest thing to a superhero, right? Let's be honest. Little kids see us in the uniform. They're like, oh my God. So I think it's essential for cops to be personable, to have a intimate relationship with their communities. So I just had to say that. Now, what was your question? I'm sorry.
So hold on. I got a download. Renee, Naja, make sure we reach out to the Raw Way. They've got some like police kid academy, something. Make sure we have them at the event, because I love what you just said. With my boys' nonprofit program, I wanted children to see other. It actually started out just for men. Now it's just transformed to all kids. But I wanted young men to see men doing things like a police officer, like lawyers, like doctors. And when I had, when I first had it, I asked the kids, what do they want to do? And most of them were like rapper, basketball.
Yeah.
So you have to like stretch their mind. Also letting them know like being a police officer is kind of cool. That's kind of dope. They may see like things. My question was pretty much, do you feel like you're living a double life with the nonprofit that you're doing? And forget that question. Let's go on to another one. Can you share a story or something that really made you feel warm and fuzzy, like I'm doing the right thing with your nonprofit? Maybe you changed a child's life, something.
Yeah. So just recently, real quick, I did a presentation in Perth Amboy, Middlesex County, for kids that are facing criminal charges. They've already been arrested. They're on probation. So when I do my presentations, a lot of times I tell the person that booked me, I say, listen, don't tell them I'm a cop. Let me tell my story. And that's what happened. So about 10 kids showed up, one female, 9 males. Anyway, there were like 3 males that didn't want to go. They're like, I'm not going out. They heard about me. They heard that I was a cop. I'm not going. But one kid, by the grace of God, was so impacted and he didn't want to go. He sent me like a 2-paragraph instant direct message on Instagram. And he told me, Bookem, I'm so glad I went. It was an amazing, we have a lot in common. Thank you for coming. I would love to see you more often. So that right there to me is like confirmation that, and I get emotional sometimes because it's like, it's just confirmation that God is using me and I'm in the right space. And even if, doing what we do and doing what you do, we want to save everybody, right? We want to be able to save every kid that walks through the door, every adult. But unfortunately, not all of them will benefit from what we have to offer them. So when you do get that confirmation, for me, that's the biggest reward. It means to me that, yes, the seed has been planted.
I love that. Renee, put that question up a little later, but I have a question for you. I'm not sure if you're aware of my story. And trigger warning for anyone that's watching. 2016, my sonny boy, Jamal Gaines, he had a sneaker store in Rahway, New Jersey. He was tragically murdered. We still do not know to today who that person is. I'm sure that person knows me. I'm sure that person knows me. It had to be someone close because the way the incident happened, it was a sneaker store in Rahway. If you go down Irving Street, it's next to the Y. There's a front door entrance, and that's the entrance everyone comes in. There was a back door entrance, which no one knew unless they were friends, family, or worked for the business. The 2 killers came in the back door. They had masks on their head. And I know this because the next day I watched the video. And this is how I know that God is just strengthening me, right? The next day, the people that owned the building where the incident happened had videos. There are videos everywhere. There's videos of everything. So the next day I got to watch the video and I saw my son coming out, like they had the guns, and he came out and he just started fighting. And as I'm watching this video, this is the day after he was murdered. And I'm just like cheering him on. That's how we got the name Lion-Hearted Legend. His girlfriend actually gave him that name, Tati. And I was just like, he believed in his business. He believed in what, it was the stupidest act in the world. Yes, I know this, but that's just, kids do stupid things. He was fighting for his business. The 2 men came to the door. They had the guns and he charged for them. But he was fighting and fighting and fighting. And the one guy he was fighting, the other guy shot him in the shoulder. That tells you how much of a punk they are, right? And then one of the guns must have went flying across the room. I kind of forgot the purpose of, I remember the purpose of my story. I kind of got off on the tangent of what happened.
It's all right.
My point is, the next day I saw this video, and then a week later, maybe a few weeks later, whatever, my daughter and I had to go to the police station because they said, let's watch the video in case we recognize the people. Now, mind you, that video plays in my head all the time. They have combat boots on. They've got like the Suno or like hair like this. My daughter and I legit were walking around town looking for shoes. Look like we were like, you'd think we were the police. But my point is, when it comes to forgiveness, right? I had to come to a place where I said, I have to forgive these 2 men. And the way I did that was I thought about what they went to. I thought about their childhood. Right? Like, how horrible could your life be that you felt that, and they didn't even get anything, right? I could see if they got money, they got a pair of sneakers, but it was all because of jealousy, right? I say that to say, when it comes to children who you see are possibly on a track, and that's how I actually started the program. I went to the superintendent's office. And he said either 6th or 7th grade, that's where a child is either going to go down the road of destruction or the road of, I guess, greatness or whatever. And that's why I started the program. So what are some things that you think parents can do? Because it really pisses me off when they're like, oh, the teacher, it's a freaking parents problem. All right. It's a parent situation. What are some things you think a parent can do, especially in this world where it's just like, go, 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 that can support their kids so they don't end up robbing, stealing, killing, doing like those horrible things? Any advice you can give them?
One word, Tina. Time. Time is how you spell love. That's what I believe. In order for you to have and really pour into your kids, you got to spend time with them. Time, it could be having a conversation. It could be making sure you're at every single event, making sure that you make their needs priority. When I say needs, I don't mean material. I mean emotional needs. I mean being there for them. So I'm a father of 3 daughters, and 2 of them live with me, and I'm very, very close with my daughters. And I make it a point to, and I'm not perfect by any means. We all have flaws, but I make it a point to be a present figure and show them time and love. Because a lot of times people say they use the word love very loosely. And what I ask people is, people say they love you, but if they're never present and they just utilize the word love, would you accept it to be something that really is valid, that they do love you if they never come to see you, they never spend time with you? Well, no, they don't love me. Yeah, that's true. So I say, yes, whatever you love, whatever or whomever you love, you must spend time. So the key is, as a parent, just spend time with your kids.
I have never heard that, and that is amazing. If you're just tuning in, this is Bookem. He's one of our speakers at our event happening September 22nd. That was super powerful. I love that whole time thing. And like you said, with the sports, right? I have to laugh because my son did every sport. He was not good at all, but he loved them all. And I remember I'd go to the football games, and he would never look at me. I'd be like, hey! And, like he was embarrassed, just like whatever. And I remember one time he was doing wrestling, and he was really, really tiny. And I went to the wrestling match, and it was challenging to get to these things because, as a parent, you're working, you're this, you're that. And I was like, okay, I'll come to your wrestling match. And I get there, and he goes out on the mat, and they put his hand up, you win. I'm like, what happened? There was no one for his weight class. So he won. I'm like, I came up this way. But do you think, even though he didn't wrestle, do you still think that meant something to him, me being there?
100%. 100%. And I say that from a space where I was the kid that didn't have, no fault of my mother, but my father, left us when I was like 1 year old, 2 years old. So I didn't have a male figure until I was like 4 or 5 when my mother met my stepfather. But even then, I didn't have, because my mother worked, because my stepfather worked, I just didn't have parents spending time or even showing up to my games. So I remember the feeling of seeing other kids and their parents like, yeah. And then I'd be like, damn, I'm up to bat, and I don't have anybody there rooting for me. At times I felt lonely, you know what I mean? So those little moments, just being there to cheer. Kids, listen, my daughter, my baby girl, 6 years old, Mia, she just wants me to see it. Like, she'll be like, Dad, look. So just me watching is good enough. Just me being there is good enough.
I love it.
So I applaud that. I applaud that from you. And I'm sorry for your loss of your son. I did know the story. And I applaud your strength. And that's, it's amazing that you're able to forgive. Because I'll be honest, I'm completely being transparent. I don't know if I would be able to forgive if somebody did that to one of my daughters. It would take a lot, and I'm a man of God, but it would take a lot for me to really like come to that space. I'm serious. I'm just being completely honest and transparent.
Right. I want to get back to what you said really quick, because I know there's a lot of parents and they just cannot be at those events. I remember my daughter, she's a professional dancer. When she was younger, she went to a sleepaway camp for ballet at some college in New York. And they had a performance. And I wasn't able to go because I was working. And she was saying, like, all the little girls had their parents there. And at the end, they were hugging them again. And I wasn't there. And I felt so crushed. But what I did, I always made sure when I did have time, I was present. A lot of people, they're like in their phones. put the phones down. We have this thing where whenever we go out, everyone puts their phone in the middle of the table, you know, to just really be super present. So I love that whole time thing. That's like impactful. I cannot wait to hear you speak at the events. So September 22nd, he's one of our great speakers. We've got gaming trucks. Are you bringing your girls?
Yes, I'm gonna invite them, but they do dance on the weekends. So I'm hoping that they can make it. My wife knows about it. But we get the dance schedule on a weekly basis, so we got to find out.
Competitions, you mean?
Yes, competition dance. Yeah,
I love the competition. That was my life. It was just like dance all over the.
Yeah. And we have two girls that are, you know, they do all like 5 different dance genres: jazz, lyrical, hip hop. You know,
so if they
have to practice.
So my daughter, she was a Nets kids dancer. So when she was a kid,
oh wow.
Started dancing, and you know, if you want, I can get you the dates for the auditions. It could be New York or it was so much
could
fun.
You let me know? Yes, please let me know. Yes,
it was phenomenal. And I remember, doesn't matter, I could go into days for that. All right. You know, when we talk about our kids, it's just like we want to like cherish them, right? So yeah, it's on Sunday. So tell me how you got into rapping. And
so I was young. I was like 12, 13 years old. I used to write poetry. My mother, so it was weird. I used to express myself through poetry. And I would be alone and just come up with poetry. And then one day my stepbrother told me, he goes, yo, man, that's like a rap. Like, he's like, you know, that sounds like a rap. My favorite rap group of all time was Wu-Tang. So I remember putting on their album and then trying to put my poetry to the beat. And then eventually I was like, oh yeah, you know, it is rap. So I started rapping at the age of like 13, 14. And from there, I just, you know, I followed my dream. I wanted to be that famous rapper. I was, you know, in the studios. I dropped a mixtape. You know, I was around some people for a while. And you know, it wasn't my purpose. I mean, you know, I still use it now as a conduit for kids to see, like you said it earlier, like, you know, kids wanted to be a rapper. They wanted to be a basketball player, a baseball player, but they don't think that. So I believe you could do both. Why not? Why can't you be a cop and be a rapper? You could do both as long as it's positive and productive. You could do both. I believe that cops get that robot image that you're a cop. That's all you stand for. You're not a human. You're a cop. That's it. So me, I'm like, yes, I'm in law enforcement, but I'm also a rapper. I'm also a dad. I'm also a brother. I'm also a friend. I'm a human being. I was born with a heart, not a badge. I'm a human being. I have dreams, aspirations, just like everybody else. So, you know, so that's, you know, that's just it. But yeah, to answer your question, 13, I started rapping.
Let me tell you, I am so excited. Like, it's crazy because when Latifah, that's how she, you know, I got introduced to you. She's like,
shout to Latifah, man.
Latifah, we love Queenie.
I love Latifah, man.
How do you know her?
So I met Latifah at she was working with a group called she's with Style Your Life. And then she was working with a group called that they do an after-school program. Fighting Chances. It was an after-school program that the city of Jersey City did, and through networking, you know, I met them. I did, you know, I went over there to speak to the kids, to do some work for them, and we just grew like a brother-sister relationship, and we support each other, and I love what they stand for and what they do for the community. So, you know,
I think it's wild. Let me tell you, when I came up with this idea, it was very small. And she used to be a model of mine. Back in the day, I had a modeling and talent company, and she was one of my models. And I was in a store shopping, and she's like, Miss Tina. And then I told her what I was doing, and she said, I'll help you. And 95, 96, a lot of percent of this event, the people, all the stuff is coming because of the connections from her. So shout out to Queenie. She is just rocking.
Shout out to my sister.
It just shows how wonderful God is, right? When you're doing your purpose, what's meant to be. Now, you know, I could not get you out of here without getting a little bit of rap. So, you know, and what is that the New Jersey accent, or is that a different accent I hear? Because I love it.
So I don't know. People say I have an accent. I don't hear it. You know what I'm saying? I don't hear it. I would say I lived in Staten Island for, I want to say like 5 years. So living in Staten Island, and then I think becoming a cop, you know, there's a certain way cops talk, and then being from the Hudson County, I don't know. I guess I picked up some type of accent along the way.
It's got a lot of swag to it. It's just like,
Yeah, thank you. I guess it helps me with my rapping, maybe, you know, a little bit.
Yeah, because I don't get police officer from you. And if I do get police
That's
officer,
great.
but I get like, what was the movie with Denzel Washington?
Oh, Training Day. Oh, he was a dirty cop, though.
Because you got like that.
Yeah, that, well, you know, that comes from you know, that comes from my background. You know, I was born and raised in an urban setting. I've rapped my whole life for the most part. And I believe, you know, a lot of cops, you'll meet a lot of cops that are just like me, man. There's thousands of them. It's just that, you know, they unfortunately, you know, don't have a platform, or their department doesn't allow them. So I'm blessed to be in a space that I'm in.
I love it. I love it. All right, kids. Danny Bookem Rivera is going to drop a couple bars, a couple 2-3 bars, nothing too major, because if you really want to see, if you really want to get all the fun, you got to come to the event. Traumedy No More for Kids. Make sure you sign up, because we only have 100 free gift bags. We have 22 enrichment activities, like a gaming truck, like dance. They're going to be giving out stuff. We have vendors, food trucks, all this great stuff. But then I'm excited for our speakers. So, and maybe he'll drop some bars there as well. So
absolutely.
Let me get you a beat. Are you ready? Hold on.
I like it. All right, you ready? I can't really hear, but I'll drop it. I ain't gonna lie. 20 was the hardest of years. The devil trying to put all of these thoughts in my ears. I got drive, but I'm parked in my chair. Whiskey bottle, full throttle, just to swallow my fears. Pop's no longer here, but I'm calling him still. Rain hit my window sills. I'm bawling in tears. If heaven had visits, I would charter a Lear so he could meet me in the gate to say it's marvelous there. There you go. Give you 2 bars real quick.
Woo, I like
I'll do more when I get there on the 22nd.
Yes. Thank you again for the time. Final mountain top moment. You have 1 minute. You're standing on top of a mountain and you have something to share that's going to transform, shift the world. What will that be? Go.
Be yourself. Please be yourself, everybody. Being yourself is living in true freedom. You're not living in freedom if you're living in the shadows of others. And just remember, just imagine if the world was just a total circle, a globe of sand, nothing else. You want to leave your footprints, like the story we heard about Jesus, footprints in the sand. You want to leave your footprints in the sand. That shows that you left a legacy. It shows the people that you did walk this earth, that you did leave your mark on this earth. Because when you're a follower, you live in the shadow of others. You allow them to carry you through their life, through their story. And another thing I'll say is, do not be an extra in somebody else's movie. Be the star in your own movie. Be yourself, and I promise you, you live in true freedom.
Woo! I'm loving these interviews. I don't normally have interviews, but because of the events, I'm having interviews. This week, we're doing the 7 a.m., 7 p.m. Make sure you tune in. Thank you so much for coming through. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Thank you. All righty, family and friends. That was another episode of the 7 a.m. Cup of Motivation. My goal is to inspire you. I hope you're excited. I hope you're pumped up. I'm hoping you're ready to rock and roll. Rock and roll, baby. We got soul. I told you I got a jukebox going on in my head, right? That was a cheer we used to do back in the day. But my key takeaways from today was definitely the time. When it comes to love, right? And I understand everyone is busy. I don't use that word, but has full schedules, has things going on, right? But it doesn't take that long to pick up the phone and text someone. It doesn't take that much time to actually call someone if you're thinking about them, right? So today I want to challenge you to reach out and text or call 7 people. You know that song's going through my head, right? Time is how you spell love. If you love someone, you're going to reach out, you're going to talk to them, you're going to, and if not, plan things, right? I am that master planner, right? So when I get to Jersey, in my head, I'm already texting, okay, where we going? What we doing? What we doing? Where we going? So plan your time and your love, and I'll see you tonight for the 7 p.m. Cup of Motivation. Peace and a bottle of hair grease. Bye. See you.